Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello everyone. Today I wanted to share with you my rocker card that I've made using some of the products from the Love from Lizi August 2019 kit. So that's what I want to show you today. This rocker style card. Mixed Up Craft and Iced Images were the two that inspired this card. So why don't we go ahead and make it together. In my hands you can see this fabulous piece of kit here. It's called a circle cutter and it's by Xcut, and it has a blade here just inside this piece here, and this is a suction area, and I'm just going to pop back on the little cover there on the blade. You can set this to any of the measurements here. There's inches and centimeters, and I have this one set at 6 for our first circle. So this will cut out a first circle. I also have the dies that came in the kit. I'm going to use the banner with the hearts, the smile, and I'm also going to use the faceted heart. So these are the 3 dies that I will be using on this card. I also have here a little circle die cut. This circle measures 2¼ inches wide, and I'm going to put the paper clip and this topper on it. I might put the bow on there as well. I'm also going to put the smile die cut and one of the hearts from the banner. So I have this grey card. It came in the kit, and I'm going to cut out my first circle base for a card on that. Then I have a white piece of card and this 300 GSM card, and what I'm going to do is cut out my second circle from that. And then I have a lovely piece of paper here, but I've cut a bit off this and it's not going to work, so I'm going to choose a different one for another circle on the card. So right, let's cut out our base of our card. This is our first circle. I'm going to take the cover off the blade here, and I'm not going to press down. I'm just going to make sure that when it cuts around this card, it's going to miss the left and top edge here. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to press down and then press down on the blade, and I'm going to swing that arm there around, pressing down so the blade cuts into the paper. Now I'm not doing a very good job of this. I have a little ruler down on the desk there and it got in the way. So it's cut the paper out, but there's 1 or 2 spots on the paper that it hasn't cut out. I'll just take my little craft knife and cut that out. So I'll have the perfect circle base. Now I'm going to set my blade at 5 3/4, and this is going to be the width we're going to need for our second circle, which is going to be our mat. So I'm going to set it here at 5 3/4, and once I have that done, then I can cut out my second circle. So I'm bringing in a piece of white card from my stash, and this card is 300 GSM white card. Just making sure that the blade is going to cut the whole way around, and I'm pressing down properly this time. You can see the paper isn't actually moving, so you need to press down hard, and that'll give you then a perfect cut. You'll see this time that the white circle will just pop out nicely. Lovely. It's all down to technique. I didn't have it set right. I didn't have my technique right the first time round, but I got it right the second time round. So maybe practice on a bit of scratch paper if this is your first time using a circle cutter. Now I'm setting my blade at 5 1/2, so I'm making sure that my little mark there is at 5 1/2, and you'll see here I realize this isn't a 6 by 6 piece of paper. I'm going to have to choose something else. It's just not fitting. So I'm going to choose a different pattern paper that came in the kit, and there is another one in the kit with lovely sentiments on it. Now I just wanted to say, if you don't have an Xcut circle cutter, you can always use some dies in your stash. The diameter of my biggest circle is 6 inches. Then the white one is 5 3/4, and this patterned one will be 5 1/2. So you can choose dies in your stash if you don't have this, but I will put a link below to the Xcut circle cutter. and with a good technique of pressing hard down on the black dome and then bringing our arm there with our blade, make sure to press down on that as well, we get a perfect cut every time. So I have my mat and my lovely patterned paper. Now you can see here I'm bringing in this darker grey, it's a charcoal grey card which I had in my stash. I had a lovely cup of tea on my desk and I went to move my Kindle out of the way and I knocked the cup and got my base, my grey base, just covered in tea, so I had to start again. So you can see here I'm cutting out the 6-inch diameter base for my card. And I'm happy with that. I would have liked to have gone with the lighter grey card that came in the kit, but this will do nicely. So now you can see all our circles sitting one on top of the other, have a nice border going all the way around. So now I have my We Are Memory Keepers scoring and cutting board here on my table. I'm going to score the black base of our rocker card, and because the diameter of this is 6 inches, we're going to score it at the 3. So I'm just showing you here the left hand side of the circle is at 6 and we're scoring at 3. I'm going to take my card base now and fold it on the score line, and then I'm going to burnish that score line. Lovely, and that'll be the base of our card. Next I'm going to bring in our white circle, and I'm showing you here that the diameter of this white circle is 5 3/4. So I'm going to move the scoring adapter out of the way. I'm going to bring the edge of my card to 2 3/4. The edge on the left, there's 2 3/4, and my nail is fitting into the groove to make sure it's butting up right against it. Now I should have moved my circle down a bit, because when I cut this, and I'm cutting at 2 3/4, it's not going to cut up the whole way, and if I had moved the circle down a little bit, it would have worked perfectly. But I just used my Fiskars Trimmer scissors to trim that, and it's perfect, and it'll sit in there like that on our base. Now I have my patterned paper piece, and although I cut this in half, I actually cut it to the wrong measurement. This one needs to be 2.5 inches in width. So I'm just bringing my finger there to the 2.5, and I'm making sure that the paper is straight, and I'm cutting along. So you'll have a full circle here, and you'll just make sure that it's cut to 2.5 inches. And that will fit on our white half circle, and then that will sit on our black rocker base. And there should be a nice border between our patterned paper, our white mat, and our black base. So there we go, lovely, happy with that. Now we have the other piece of our circle that we cut in white, and this one I'm going to cut down to the same size. It will be 2 3/4. And the reason I'm doing that with the other half is I'm going to put that on the back, and that way I can put a sentiment on the back of the rocker. So I'm lining it up, and it's lining up to 2 3/4, and then I'm going to cut it. So now we have our card base and our layers and everything. The only thing I missed out was that black strip there. I have a grey strip of card here, and it's the same card that I used to make the base. This piece measures 3/4 inch by 3 inches, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, and 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to fold it into a valley in the middle score line, and then each score line at each end I'm going to fold down, so we'll have a mountain, a valley, and a mountain fold, and this is going to sit in the base of the rocker inside to stop it spreading and going flat. Now I've speeded up the rest of the video, and I'm going to put everything together. The big brush that you would have seen there is a face brush that I got from Primark or Pennies, and I just used that to clean off my desk. So I'm going to stamp down my sentiment for the back of the card, where we're going to have room to write a message to whoever's receiving the card. I'm using the word perfect and priceless, and I'm stamping those in Memento Toffee Crunch ink. So I'm going to put 3 of the little hearts that got punched out of one of the die cut tags there. I'm going to stick all those layers down. At this point I should have put my 2 1/4 inch circle in before I put the layers down, but I'm just going to lift the papers a little and slide it in, and that works just fine for me. Once I have that down, I can then stick down the back piece, and then we're going to add our embellishments to the front. Now make sure each time you stick something down or put something on the front that you stand it back up and make sure that it's balanced, because if there's something too much to the right or too much to the left, it's going to sit off at an angle. So that's what I'm checking each time. I have my die cut words here, smile, and I'm going to glue 2 of those together and sit it at the front just like that. You can actually stick the 2 words together first and then put it on the front of your card, but I've done it this way and it worked just fine for me. I'm going to take my Spectrum Noir pen and I'm going to embellish the word smile with that, give it a little bit of sparkle. I've got the 2 faceted gem hearts and I'm going to attach them onto the front of the card as well. I'm going to put 1 to the right and 1 to the left, and then some of the little hearts that got punched out of the banner, I'm going to stick them on the front too. I was going to put that little bow on as well, but I think I'll leave it off. There's enough going on in the card already. So with the front of our card and the back of our card finished, I'm going to take that little strip of card that we had, which measured 3/4 by 3 inches, and we scored that. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each of the small 1/2 inch tabs. I'm going to put it, as I said, a little bit on both of those little tabs. And then I'm going to place that down using the grid on my mat. I'm going to place that on the inside, the center of the rocker. I'm going to close that over. I'm using my tweezers there just to help keep it down. I'm going to press firmly. That way, what that will do is it will ensure the rocker only opens a small amount. That way it won't actually open and go flat. Now I'm going to use my Spectrum Noir pen again, and I'm going to embellish the little hearts that are on the card, as well as the faceted gems there as well. So with that all done, I've just left to embellish the envelope, and I like to do this. When I die cut out our patterned paper circle, it left this piece behind, and I thought it would be really cool to stick that on the envelope. Seeing as our card is all about circles, I thought it would be cool to have that on the front of the envelope. And sure, why not waste it? It's not good for much else anyway. So I'm going to use some of my Nuvo Glue, and I'm going to go around the outside here, all around the edge. And once I have that done, I'm going to place that down on my envelope. Now, it would have been great if I had centered that circle that I had cut out, but I still think it's going to look grand. I'm going to make sure when I stick it down that I have it the right way up. I don't want to stick it down on my envelope and find out that the words are upside down. So I'm going to use my tweezers to help me pick it up. And I have made sure that it's the right way up. Now, looking at my envelope, this is going to be the bottom, so I'm going to use my fingers and stick that down on the envelope, and I'm going to try and make sure that it's centered on the envelope so I have an even border all the way around. I've also got some little hearts that I have punched out using my punch. You can leave the front of the envelope like this, but I had some hearts that I'd punched out that I was going to use up, so I've put a couple of those also on the front. I may have gone overboard a little bit, but I like it. So that's our rocker card and matching envelope using the Love from Lizi August 2019 kit. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, you might consider clicking on the thumbs up down below and giving this video a like. I'd like to thank you for subscribing, and if you're not a subscriber, you might click the subscription icon down below and become a subscriber. There's a little bell icon as well, and if you click on that, you'll be notified for each of the videos that I post. This video was inspired by Mixed Up Craft and Iced Images. Links will be below. Thanks for watching my video, and until next time, bye bye.